down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Ladies and gentlemen, yep, you tuned in to the Savvy Radio Show. I got my OG from Indiana. OG means original gangster, also hustler, entrepreneur, property manager, consultant. I don't know. You got all these episodes on my radio show. We got number 41, Lee Smith, back in 2015. Not your average realtor. You beat me up a lot on the Naked Investor series, episode number 200, which is cool. And then Lee blows your mind with how you redo the interest rate on that one deal, episode number 38, how you split the interest with somebody else. And I remember going numb through that interview, so let's not bring that one up again.
Well, I've got some new stories for that one, so we'll go through that in this episode, I think.
All right, let's set that up. So we got 3 agendas here. We're going to go over what's going on today in the market with the tenants, like the process, like what are they thinking, goals, your goals, because I think I was at a seminar last night at my RIA, and it was just interesting. It was a great panel where everyone had their goals and they all had a different way of achieving them and writing them down. So I'd love to hear that about you. And then we'll do one of your creative, blow my mind interest. Oh no, is that me? Can you hear that in the background?
Yeah.
My bad. All right. Sorry, folks. All right, here we go. So the current market climate. Tell me, I don't want to say the word millennials, but people in general, is it slow to rent houses? What's your vibe on people calling about your properties?
So no, I think it's actually a very active market. I mean, we've definitely ramped up our marketing, but we've always been, top of the line as far as, or cutting edge for our marketing. So I don't think it's slowing down in that aspects, but I'm seeing a lot of victim mentality. I mean, predominantly most of our rentals are in the lower income areas, and I'm all for hand ups. Give people a hand up, not a hand out.
Hand up.
And so, what we're seeing a lot of is people get pissed off at the situations that they've put themselves in, and then they act like we're supposed to bail them out again. And I've had just crazy stuff. I'll just kind of jump right into that story. So we had that house that we did the deal on way back when. The tenant was rent to own, and I got a call November 7th while we were at OREA, and there was a house fire at that house. And so anyway, 2 or 3 weeks later, come to find out, so she was renting rooms to people, which she's not supposed to do according to the lease, and she was breeding pit bulls. So she had 8 to 10 pit bulls on the property, which she's not supposed to do. She wasn't even supposed to have one dog on the property. And so come to find out, there was, on the back of the house, there was a deck, a wooden deck. Let me clarify this, wooden deck, and then there was a room that she had rented out for an upstairs attic space. And the guy who was living up there had created 2 pens on the back of this house, and lined them with straw because it's wintertime. He wants to keep his dogs warm, and then put, coming out of the wall socket, exterior wall socket, he's got a power strip going to a heat lamp.
Oh no. Yeah.
And so come to find out, we had
water, rain.
Oh yeah. 2 different fire inspectors come through, and they pieced, it was like CSI, man. They were like piecing everything together, and they're recreating the pens and all this stuff like this.
So is that how it caught on fire? Was from that extension cord?
Well, so what it was that they, in the end, they said that it was either 2 things. Either it was the heat lamp that caused the fire, or this guy was also so smart, he was a smoker, and when he would get done with his cigarette, he would just throw the lit, butt onto the deck. Wooden deck.
From the second floor.
Yeah, on the second floor, throw his little lit butt out, and it would roll over. So they think that really what they think happened is it rolled over and caught the hay on fire. And it must have smoldered for a while because it burned through the deck first. You're talking 2-inch boards. And so it burned through that first, and then finally it went ablaze, and then, it got the walls. But it really didn't do a lot of damage to the walls, but it burned through the deck and then burned through the roof underneath the deck. And so anyway, but in the end,
hold on. What happened in your emotions? You're at a conference, 3 or 4 hours away. You get a phone call. My house is on fire. This has happened to me before. And so what was your first reaction? I know you're all smooth and silky over there.
Well, I'm in Ohio.
Were you tripping? Were you upset? I mean, and it was an owner financed house. So you were like, what the F, do I have insurance? What went through your mind?
Yeah, and I was actually in a mastermind session, and my phone just started lighting up, and I got it turned off, but you feel it buzzing and all that sort of stuff, and I'm looking over, and I'm just like, that's one thing about being
so casual. You're just casual.
That's one thing about being so having so many rentals and stuff like that. You just kind of look at it and you take it in, and you run through the options in your mind, like, all right, do I need to go home? Do I blah 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 blah? And I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? We'll get this figured out. This is not the end of the world, So my first question was, did anybody get hurt? No, nobody got hurt. All right, so I
Did
just
you get
called
pictures?
one of my. Oh yeah, I got tons of pictures of it.
So you were 3 hours away.
Yeah.
You found out my house was caught on fire.
Yeah.
Did you Google it?
No. I just called. It was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. I just called one of my contractors and I said, I don't know what's going on. Go over there, take a look, and then seal the property up. And so he was like, okay. And so he, it was night by then, and so he really couldn't get me any good pictures. And so I said, just go back tomorrow and get me some good pictures and send them to me. It's funny, and you're a father and I'm a father, and it's a riot because, I can have somebody break into a house. I just had one that somebody broke into one of my houses, stole my brand new furnace, stole my brand new water heater, and I'm just like, sons of guns, And I'm just like, there's nothing I could do about it, and it doesn't really get me riled up. But there's certain things that my kids can do, like look at me funny, and it'll just set me off, full rage, and it is so funny, but it's because I expect so much more out of my own kids. But I don't expect as much out of contractors or tenants or,
wow.
I just don't expect much out of anybody. So I have no, I just roll with the punches.
So you're just numb. You just, yeah. I love that. I know that's a terrible analogy, but it's so true. The level, just the expectations for the economy. You got people on the left that are just irate about the one thing, and then you and I are just like, yeah, I turn the TV off, no more.
Yeah.
So did you call an adjuster? Did you get a public adjuster? And then is it titled in her name? You just are so cash on this deal.
Well, so it was a lease option, so it wasn't titled in her name. She was proving herself that she could be, a responsible adult, which she didn't prove that. She was proving that she could be a responsible adult. And then, over the lease phase, if she could, be on time with her payments and be responsible, then I would convert it to a note mortgage on the backside. But, obviously she wasn't being responsible. So, anyway, so we were at OREA, and then it was I came back on the Monday, and then the insurance adjuster called me, and I think I did that, whatever, the night that I got notified, I called the insurance company and told them we had a fire and blah, 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 and they're going to send somebody out. So anyway, so it was the Monday I got back, and then they were like, we're going to meet you out there Wednesday, and we're going to, bring a fire inspector, and we're going to do all this other stuff. And I was like, okay. And then they called me back Wednesday morning real early, and they're like, you know what? There's a whole lot of stuff going on here, and we're not even sure if the city's going to go after her or not because she was raising pit bulls, probably had a pit bull fighting ring going on, and blah, 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 blah. So they were just like, we're going to wait a couple of weeks and see what's going on with this, or wait a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever until the city figures out what they want to do, if they want to press charges against her. And then we'll go out there. So anyway, so then we went out there, and they had 2 fire inspectors, a city fire inspector and then the insurance company's fire inspector. And I brought along a local contractor who specializes in fire remediation. But really all he did was he showed up. He was there for about 10 minutes, and then he was like, it's too cold and I'm going. I'll be back later after they, unseal the scene and blah, blah, blah. And so it was kind of worthless.
Real motivated.
Right. He was like, yeah, just call me and I'll come out and fix it. I was like, okay. And so anyways, but so we figured it out. It was the insurance company and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm dealing with hillbilly rednecks, so I can get stuff done a lot cheaper. But, it was.
Hold on, man. Listen, how did you deal with the tenant? Did you evict her? Did she pay her rent?
So it was so touch and go because
touch and go like it was a life threatening.
I mean, no, as far as, because she was just screaming bloody murder at me, and she was just.
It was your fault.
Oh, yeah, it was my fault. I mean, that's the victim mentality. She was just like, it's your fault. This house sucks. You're a horrible person. You sold me crap, blah, blah, blah. You ripped me off. And I was just like, well, hold on a second here. And where do you go from that? At that point in time, I'm just trying to get answers from the insurance company on where we're going to go. So there's no point in
you're trying to be integrity and give her the house. I mean, I'm assuming you don't want to take it back.
Well, I mean, it really wasn't that much damage, so I'm okay with taking it back. But I mean, it was just, but she had, she had abused us so bad and had abused so much of the whole situation that I was kind of not necessarily mad at her, but I mean, I was just irritated, and I'm like, well, this is just ridiculous. I mean, you weren't supposed to have renting rooms. You weren't supposed to be having dogs there, all this other stuff that she was just, and there was a lot of other craziness going on. The police or fire inspector was just telling us all sorts of craziness. And he was like, I'm trying to figure out if we can charge her and blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, I'm going to.
Shaking your head in confusion. Well, yeah. Did she walk off the property? Is she still there? What's the deal?
Yeah, she couldn't live there. They shut off all the utilities and everything like that, so she couldn't live there. But of course, she didn't have renter's insurance, which is also a requirement of ours. She has to have renter's insurance, and she didn't have renter's insurance. Renter's insurance would have covered her for staying in a hotel until we got it all figured out. But she didn't have renter's insurance, so she was on her own. So she was pissed at me for that. And, it was just, she was just screaming and hollering at me like I was this dirty SOB. Well, come to find out, she caused her own problems. And even at the end, I was just like, I'll just give you some money to go away. And,
cash for keys at the end?
I mean, pretty much.
Oh, you are just the savvy of the savviest.
I was just like, look. If you broom clean the house on your way out the door, you get rid of all your personal stuff, I'll give you some.
Take up the pit bull theses.
Yeah. And so I was just like, just go away, you are
a veteran to the core. I love it.
In the end, she had put herself in a bad position, and you can be anti whatever, but it was Christmas time, and I was just like, here's some money, go away, go have a nice Christmas, whatever's left of it. And just give me this house back, and we'll just get this figured out. And so, that's what we did.
Let me interject there for 1 second. I think you did something very remarkable, and I don't know if anybody caught it on the radio show, but most people, and you said this right in the beginning, are victims. And I have noticed that landlords have become victims. And what you did was you looked beyond, because she damaged your property. She's put you, in my mind, you're dealing with the police, which is several hours. You're dealing with an insurance. You're dealing with these hillbilly contractors. You just ramped up 20, 30 hours of your life because of someone's bad decision. And you bowed down and served this lady. And she has no idea that when I was joking by cash for keys, what I'm genuinely saying is like, you helped her in my mind that she probably didn't have money. She's paycheck to paycheck. She has no place to live. And you gave her money to assist her. And most people, and especially these young landlords, would have been like, they owe me. She did me wrong. I lost revenue. Now I've got, what are your back? You lost November 7th. Probably it's January now. You're probably just now getting it back to pieces, right? Is it vacant right now?
Yeah, it's we haven't even touched it yet because we've
got. So you're losing. You're probably going to lose 5 to 10 G's on this deal.
Right.
And you just, but you're the bad guy, and, we're the slumlords of the world. And I just admire your, and I think it boils down to, and I would like you to elaborate on this. Is it because you're just done with the stupidness and you're just rather take the loss? Because this is exactly how I feel right now. And I don't know if I'm becoming a puss or what, but I just took a loss on a deal this week just because I don't want to deal with the headache. Was that your vibe, or what were you thinking? Were you worried about a lawsuit? Be genuine here. There was a bunch of liability going on. 10 dogs,
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, and even now, I mean, I'm just still thinking that there's going to be another shoe that's going to fall at some point in time. And, it's just, I made this joke, I don't know, a month or so ago. I have no sympathy or empathy anymore. When somebody calls me up and they're like, oh, I'm doing this and I've got this going on and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, what's the other side of the story? I mean, I'm just like, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, you're lying.
And that's,
I know.
yeah.
I know. I just assume everybody lies. I know. I'm not jaded. Like I'm a happy person. Like
right.
That's why I want to call you and hang out with you. That's why we hang out in Florida. I mean, for those specific reasons. All right, let's change the dang subject.
All right.
Now, we've noticed.
Don't be a victim. That's the end of it.
Yeah. Well, we're still going to talk about these new tenants.
Okay.
Future tenants. Like what I have noticed, and I could be way off. It seems like people are, this may set you off because I have been struggling on writing this podcast that people don't respond. We had a tenant the other day that shows up on the property, wants to rent it, or future tenant, prospective tenant, loves the property. My bed goes here, got the tape measure out. I'm like, wow, and then we're like, in our minds, these folks are going to rent it. Like they're amped up. Then it's crickets. Then we're calling them. No response. Is that a common thread in Indiana? Like, what's it like, and how are you handling that? Are you like 10 messages? I mean, like, are you walking away? Tell me and I know you have VAs running this part of it, but I know your VA. I mean, I know you're seeing this culture. How are you dealing with what I don't know what I just said?
Well, I mean, it's we get that a lot. We get a lot of people who call, and like you say, they're like thrilled to death with the property, and they're, let me use a better example. Our Facebook marketing. I'm not kidding you, dude. I get 20, 30 comments a day on our ads on Facebook. People like, oh, I'm interested. What's the scoop? Blah, blah, blah. And we respond to them, and then you never hear from them. I mean, I get a nightly spreadsheet and I get a weekly spreadsheet of all the activity that happened with all of our available rentals. And I would say maybe one or two a day is from Facebook. But yet I'm getting 20, 30 people a day responding to our ads on Facebook, asking questions, but then they don't even go look at the property. They don't go, they don't apply like they say they're going to apply. So, like, again, I'm back to the no sympathy, no empathy. We just go on. We just accept it for fact, and we just keep hustling, doing what we can to get it rented. And so, we get a ton of activity on a lot of our properties, and some of our properties you would think would be, just snatched up like that, and they're not. They're sitting, and we're not getting the showings. I mean, some of my properties I'll get 30, 40 showings in a week, and other properties I'll get 6 or 4.
Have you considered being creative? Like, I know a property manager says, hey, put $100 down today and we'll hold the property. Have you ever thought or being creative on how to create a sense of urgency or a creative way to get them to respond? Like, hey, your mom's calling you, call me back. I mean, are we not thinking outside the box here? I mean, I agree with you. I just accept the fact that they're dumb. Like, they're disrespectful, that they at least should say, like, I looked at a property yesterday or 2 days ago on Wednesday, and I was like, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to respond back to the guy. I'm going to say, no, it's just way too high. Now, it may start in negotiations. I really am not going to buy his property, but at least I'm going to give him some feedback that, and I really was interested in the property. I mean, I did 4 or 5 hours of due diligence, but I'm still going to send him an email. I don't have to, but hopefully he'll take my name and number. In 3 years from now, he'll be desperate, and I'll get it for 50 cents on the dollar. And that's my intention. That's my motivation. I'm savvy and I'm smart, but these people are just burning bridges everywhere. There's got to be a creative way, and you're creative, so give me an idea now.
So one thing that we do is, so let's say a tenant goes to view a property. I mean, I don't even send a person to look at the house with them. So we give them a 1-day code on a lockbox, and they go look at it themselves. Yeah. So I'm not even going to waste my energies to go out and show the house or have any of my people go out and show the house. We just let them go through it on their own. But what we do, I just said do. You got a young kid.
Well, listen,
so you know what I'm
I
talking
can
about.
hear a little frustration about showing property.
Yeah. So what we do is
the a-hole come out. We don't show property because I know you're just spinning your wheels. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, I used to own an Avis car branch and a Ryder truck branch back in the days. If anybody remembers the yellow trucks of Ryder, but with the Avis cars, I mean, they would have a 50% no-show rate. What are you showing me?
The lip balm, the Savvy lip balm.
Savvy lip. You are such a
keep going. No show rate.
Everybody makes fun of me for being a princess with my heated steering wheel in my truck, but look at you over there with your Savvy lip balm.
All right, so keep going.
So what we do is, let's go back to this. So what we do is I don't even meet a tenant until they're moving in. And I don't even meet them, period. So I send my guy out to do the move-ins. But so what we generally do is we'll give them a code to go look at the property that day. And we respectfully ask them to give us feedback after they get done leaving the property, which they almost never do. Mm-hmm. And then we'll call back the very next day and say, hey, what'd you think of the house? Give us some feedback. Are you ready to make an application? And then most of the time it's crickets, where we get voicemail. And so we may even text them instead of sending a voicemail. And then 2 days after that, so on the third day after they view the property, then we'll instigate another contact. So if we did a text message on the first time, we'll call them on the third. And then, if we still haven't heard from them on the fifth day, then we'll hit them up one last time and say, hey, are you interested at all in this property? Just text yes or no. You know what I mean? The old kitty thing. Check here for yes, check here for no, and the no box is itty bitty, right?
I mean, I think that's a good engagement. Do you want the property? Yes or no? And I think the person that's in the driver's seat, my staff, they're a little passive at times. Like, they get frustrated they don't get a respond, and I'm like, look, girl, just ask them yes or no. We just need to know because we don't want to hold the space for you.
Right.
Well, I think that
we don't hold any spaces. I mean, everything we do nowadays is first come, first serve. All over our applications, it says, this is first come, first serve. We could have 10 people applying for the same property. Whoever gets the approval, whoever gets the approval and pays the deposit first is the one who wins. And so you'll get people who will apply. They'll pay the $35 application fee, and then they won't send you the paperwork. And you'll send them reminders. Hey, you applied. We already charged you the app fee, but we need your paperwork. Where's your paperwork? And crickets. They don't respond. So they just paid $35 for nothing. Okay,
here's an idea. Just we'll move on from here. But about being creative on the response from seeing the property.
Right.
What if you text this? And this is just an old school business idea. And this is just creative. I just came up with this just listening to you. Hey, if you respond back to the quality of the property, we'll give you a $5 7-Eleven gift card.
Maybe.
I don't know.
One thing. So I was in a mastermind Monday and Tuesday. Bob Dressman's mastermind on Monday and Tuesday.
That's my idol. Just so you know.
Yeah, he's my boy.
That's my homie.
And so, anyways, we were in this mastermind, and there was a guy there, Dave Hildebrand, and he was talking about he came out of making six figures at a Land Rover dealership. I forget what goes with Land Rover, but anyways, the other brand that goes with the Land Rover. He came out of there. He's doing real estate full time, and his big thing was whenever you send a message at the bottom, you put in the words "talk soon" in uppercase, talk soon is both capital letters, so capital T and capital S, talk soon, and 3 exclamation points. And they did a study in their organization, and by saying talk soon, when they couldn't get people to respond at all, by putting that talk soon in there, the next time they were able to get a hold of the people. So it put a mind shift into these people's minds that they're going to not ease up until I talk to them. So then they were open to answering it the next time. So maybe that's something we're thinking about implementing in ours. And so, just
that's a great idea.
We're always trying new things, but the $5 coffee card or whatever.
Well, I love Starbucks card and these millennials, but I love the last and final text. We need to, yes or no. And maybe it's just a safe place. I think a lot of new generation don't like confrontation or the self-esteem issue. They don't want to be, they don't want to let me down. Hey, listen, you're not letting me down. I just need to know.
Right.
So we can move on and enjoy life. All right, let's move on and enjoy 2019. We're going to wrap this up. We got about 5-10 minutes left, my friend.
Okay.
Tell me about your goals for the year.
Okay.
And was 2018 great for you? I noticed that you've slimmed down a little bit. I could tell in your picture there. But I could see
Stroking
the bushy
my beard.
Yeah. But, what's your health goals, your business goals, financial goals? Are you putting on assets? You taking them off? Tell me tell me what's going on and how are you doing it? Are you writing it down? And put your microphone a little bit closer to you. Pull it down.
Right here? Right there?
There you go.
That's right. So it doesn't look like a big zit on my face?
Well, you look like you're like in an F-150, a fighter jet.
Yeah, well, that's my gaming days coming through because I got the gamer headset.
I almost made fun of you. Is that your gaming headset?
It is my gaming headset. All right. So goals so 2018 was pretty rough. 2017, at the end of the year, I always try and create my goals for like a 3-year, actually like a 10-year, a 3-year, a 1 year, and
Nice.
then immediate action points. So 2017, when going into 2017, my goals were to add a bunch of properties as far as property management. I was going to really build the property management company. Anyways, we did some bad decisions towards the end of 2017 because we had some people hit us up we started what we call our Save the Hoe program. And so we had these investors that would show up. They had 40 or 50 properties or 40 or 50 units, and they were just desperate. They had gotten involved with bad property managers, and they got ripped off and blah, blah, blah. So they wanted us to save them. So we took on about November and December of last year, we took on about 100 units from different owners that were just in massive problems. Well, the problem was that we saved their bacon, but then they didn't pay us. And so we ended up losing.
Wow, I got to hit you with the wow.
I know, wow. So, it put me in a really bad place about halfway through the year. We ended up almost everybody paid, but it just took forever. And we still got a few people out there. I mean, we lost some pretty good money doing that stuff. But anyway, so it made me reanalyze my goals about halfway through the year last year, and I realized that I don't want to grow the property management as hardcore. I'm okay with taking somebody on who I know is a solid, seasoned investor, but I'm not going to take somebody on who's just had money and thought they could get into the turnkey gig and buy a bunch of properties and they'd be making money hand over fist. So, it's got to be a seasoned investor who's been around for a while and realizes that there's, upticks and downticks in real estate.
Come on, get to your goals.
So anyway, my goals for 2018,
we're on 18. That's right. That was 17.
Now we're on 18.
You died on 17.
Yeah, so 18, I want to add – so I actually, at the Bob Dressman thing, I talked to a girl, and she's like, I want to add 12 properties this year. And so I was like, okay, I'll match you. We'll have a little competition. I'll match you. I'll do 12 properties too. And so Dressman, being Dressman, he goes, yo, you're already much more entrenched, and you've got a lot more systems involved. He goes, you got to do like twice as many as her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
I was going to say 24 because that's usually my first number.
And so anyway, so I'm like, but might have to be all paid. So I'm like, or have, underlying private money or be seller finance. So anyway, so my goal is 18 rental properties for
little sissy. That's not double.
I know. So anyways, it made me, so I came back from that Tuesday night real late. So Wednesday morning I got up and started sending some messages to some people I had started to do some deals with back in 2018. And one woman's got 3 properties. I'm going to see if I can buy those, seller financed. I've got a property I'm closing on actually today, right now. It actually should be closed right now. So I'm trying to truck it. If I can do 24, I'll do 24 right now. I set it at 18, and if I blow past it, then awesome. But that's my goals. I want to add 18 more rentals to my to my thing. I've got some longer goals. It's interesting. Most people have a why, right?
You don't have one?
I don't have a why. I've never had a why.
It's so funny because my next question was, how about your family and your kids? The cool thing about you is I've known you for about 5 years or so, and I've seen you outsource way more. You were way more active. You're like doing everything, like setting up all these new ideas, and now you're like, you're not even at closing. Like that's been my new goal this year too. It's like I don't want to be a jerk and not be at closing, but I'm pre-signing now. I'm not going, and not that I'm any cooler. what's the point, right?
Yeah, right. I I'm getting all my whatever networking done with the guys who are selling me the properties on the phone, so I don't need to show up for it. Now, maybe I might kick myself later on for it, but right now, I mean, I don't go to any closings, period. But yeah, I mean, as far as family goals, I mean, I'm
Vacations?
No, I don't do vacations.
I mean, I know your wife is amazing to deal with you in the first place.
Right, put up with me.
And the sacrifices that she does do.
Yeah,
but damn, take that chick out. Take her somewhere. Like, you know, go to Disney World. How old are your children?
Mine are 7 and 12.
Yeah, man.
But you know, so here's the deal. So I grew up my entire childhood, whatever you want to say. I think we did 3 vacations ever as a family.
Yeah. Change that.
Wait, but I don't really. So okay,
you're a millionaire. I don't think you know this.
Shut up,
you are a millionaire.
Shut up, Steven. My wife grew up, and they never did a vacation ever. I mean, they might take a day and go to the beach because she grew up in New York City, so they might go down to AC, Atlantic City, and go to the beach or something like that. But they wouldn't want to do it for a day. She never went on a vacation. So
you're manipulating her childhood for you to be cheap.
Well, no, she doesn't. I offer all the time. Hey, let's go do a trip.
No, you can't offer it. You got to book that shit and go do it. There is no offering because she'll say no because that's all she knows. I mean, like you need to just take I guess take her back to New York and do a little 3-day cruise. Just you and her.
I guess maybe that's. But I mean, every time I ever suggest it, she's just like, nah.
No, you can't suggest it. Hey, we're going. We're rolling.
Maybe we'll try and do that this year.
I'm gonna make a vacation to Fisher.
Nice.
I'm going to Indiana.
You're welcome to come on up, man. You're welcome.
I know.
To come on up. She likes meeting the real estate investors. She wants nothing to do with the real estate business, but she loves meeting you guys. So because we're always talking trash, and she gets a good kick out of it. So, anyways, but yeah. So
all right. So no vacation. No trips,
but I spend a lot of time with my kids. I'm there for them when they get off the bus, and if my one son's big into running right now, so he's a big cross country guy. And so I go to all his events, and he likes it when I show up for practice. So I'll show up for practice occasionally and scream and holler at him that he needs to do better. The typical dad stuff. But I'm not a helicopter parent by trade, so I'm pretty much. My wife cracks up because I don't pay enough attention to what's going on. So like we went out somewhere, we were meeting my wife, so it was me and the kids. We're going to meet my wife, and we show up, and my wife's like, where's their jackets? And I'm like, I don't know. Where's your jackets, boys? Yeah,
that's me. That's me. I'm like, I don't.
I just told him to get in the truck. I didn't pay attention to what he was wearing.
Hey, we're not ingrained. That's not motherhood. All right. So we got to wrap this up. What would you tell people? You've been doing this almost 30 years. What words of wisdom would you give? I know you've been through 2 cycles now. You're entering a cycle. What advice would you give in general? I mean, I know we talked about burnout last episode, but what would you have done differently, or what are you doing now that's working? I could see that you're enjoying life a little bit more. You outsource a lot, but what popped in your head when I said, "Hey, man, what would you want to get out?"
So, my biggest piece of advice to someone is real estate is cyclical. So, it'll go down and then it'll come back up. I mean, it's cyclical. I mean, I'm not a huge Trump guy, but I'm also not, I don't care. I'm not a political guy, period. But not anymore. But I read his book, Art of the Deal. And I mean, it's stuff that we do all the time. And I mean, he's concentrating, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now on some of the big deals he did. And, real estate is very cyclical. Right now I'm getting cash heavy because I'm hoping beyond hope that a bunch of stuff is going to do a dive, and I'm going to grab a ton of stuff, and then I'm going to buy and go forward. And that's one thing I remember, 2007, 2008, 2009. I mean, there was tons and tons of deals. I wasn't ready for it, so I didn't have the cash on hand. But, I mean, I was never worried that the market wasn't going to come back, that the whole thing was, we were talking zombie apocalypse. I wasn't worried about that. So, right. I mean, that's one thing I think people don't realize is, that strategies during the downturn will change. It might be short sales, and it might be, other, and stuff like that. But as a whole, I mean, real estate is cyclical. So you'll have turns, but it's going to get better and it's going to get worse depending on your market. But if you can wait it out,
that's awesome.
And if you're solid on your numbers, if you look at, like, I mean, you and I both did turns through the downturn in the market, did flips. And as long as you're solid on your numbers, yes. And if the market is a bell curve, right? And if you're in a going up market and values are starting to rise, if you price your house high on this table, and you list it here, so like the market price is here, and you price your house here, sooner or later it's going to get there, right?
Right.
But like when you're in a downturn in the market, if you price your house here, and that market's there, then the market's going to go this, and then you're going to drop your price to where it should have been. And so you just got to pay attention to your numbers. You got to plan for, okay, so 2 months from now the market's going to be here instead of where it was. So as long as you're expecting that, then you're going to do fine.
That's awesome.
And running your numbers, like I do worst case scenarios on stuff. If I'm okay with the worst case scenario that it takes me 6 months to find a renter and blah 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 blah, then if the numbers are still okay, then it's a good deal for you.
All right, man. Well, let's just end it right here. So let's just recap. So stay the course.
Yep.
Know your numbers.
Yep.
And get with other great investors like yourself, and go to Bob Dressman's boot camp or investor weekend, and
right. Yeah. Be the dumb guy in the room.
Yeah. I just recently heard that in an audiobook, and I agree. It's like, am I the smart one in the room? Where am I in that? Right. All right, Lee, I can't wait to see you in 30 days or so, and yep. I appreciate your time.
All right, man.
And thanks for being on the Savvy Radio Show.
Booyah!
Investor Weekend is not far off, with over 10 information sessions to increase your portfolio. Log on to www.investorweekend.com. Whether you are a seasoned investor or never purchased a property before, you don't want to miss the Investor Weekend. Join us for a powerful, knowledge-packed weekend with over 10 informational sessions that are bound to enlarge your real estate investments. You will hear from the best national and local real estate investors that will share practical and relevant experiences with you, the investor. There will be several networking sessions to connect with other like-minded people for potential funding, partnerships, and yes, hot deals. Go to www.investorweekend.com. Did you know we meet once a month for the Landlord Lunch meeting? The third Wednesday of every month. Go to landlordlunch.com.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.